This is a country that depends heavily on tourism. It depends on remittances from abroad, on Suez Canal revenues, on trade. It is very sensitive to events of this magnitude. But before we get into the economics, I want to talk about the political side of this story. Is this possibly an inflection point, given the number of people who have died in this tragedy?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a truly shocking event, both in terms of the nature of it and the death count that's come out of it. I think, though, the thing that you have to remember is Egypt has been, gone through a whole series of reforms, both on the political side, on the religious fanaticism side, security situation, as well as markets. So for now, I think we should view it as an isolated event and see where things go from it. Sisi's obviously come out very strongly and said they will clamp down hard on this. So I think we should just take a moment here and see where things progress from here before sort of jumping to too many conclusions.
The question becomes then how investors should be looking at this story. You're saying look at it as an isolated event. I went back to see the last major terror event in 2015. Stock market sold off 15% in the 4 weeks that followed. Your appetite for Egyptian assets remains firm. That's what you were telling me just minutes ago before we went on air.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting one. So if you look at it and go back a year, so you almost have to sort of view this as a timeline situation. So a year back, Egypt, or very few foreign investors had appetite for Egypt. You had, capital controls on repatriation of dollars out of the country. The security situation was a bit of a mess. Foreign exchange reserves, if you think about it, last October at this time, or just over a year ago, were at $20 billion. Today, they're at $36 billion. The IMF program, the $12 billion program, half of it has either been dispersed or approved, so things are looking good. So even if we talk about ourselves as a house, Emirates NBD, asset management, we've participated in both Egyptian securities on the equity side, so we overweight that in our funds. And on the fixed income side, we participated from about August onwards in the local market, the treasury auctions. So there are two, every week there are two treasury auctions on a Tuesday and a Thursday, the 6 and the 12-month and 3 and 9-month. So interestingly, today is the 9-month auction. So that would be a key one to look at in terms of foreign participation, because, as of last week, the yield on those was still 18% in local terms. So that'll be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, we'll both be watching that for sure. So we know that Egyptian President El-Sisi has already reshuffled his top security. That was following last month's ambush of police. What are the chances that these security issues become a distraction for him, and it means maybe he takes his eye off the ball of some of the economic reforms that he's really been pushing for? Yeah,
look, that danger is always there, right? One of the things that when foreign investors are looking at any of these markets, I mean, if you just look back to the other story that you covered this morning, Pakistan, right? They've got similar situation in terms of security. Now, one of the things that's helped Pakistan over the last few sort of months to a year has been the improving the security situation. And that's one thing that absolutely agree with you. Sisi cannot afford to take his eye off the ball in that sense. And that's where we have to see if this remains an isolated event or there are more follow-ups from here.